corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we are talking about Coyote songs by Gabino Iglesias. I discovered Gabino on Twitter. I'm not sure how. I think he was just sort of popping up in my feed because friends of mine would like his tweets, and I'd see them and they were always so intriguing. They were either motivation for fellow writers or just sharing beautiful, creepy art. You know, sharing his journey as a writer, and I was just sold. So I followed him, found out about his books. He's got two out currently, this one and another one called All Saints, which I haven't read yet, but I definitely intend to after reading this. And he's got another one coming out in the summer, I think at the end of the summer. I think August, September, I think it's August though. So anyway, I wanted to read one of his books after, you know, following him on Twitter and really enjoying his presence on that platform. So I decided on this one mainly because I love the cover. The cover is so beautiful. It's just, that artwork is outstanding. So this book talk is going to be a little different than some of my other ones. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I like to, when I review a book or talk about a book, I always feel like book talk is more accurate than book review, but I'll go through the sort of general plot and then I'll dive into it a little deeper, going into spoilers and whatnot. With a warning, don't worry, I'm not out here spoiling anything for anyone, but today's book talk is going to be a little different. First of all, as I got about halfway through this book, I was like, I don't know how I'm even going to talk about this because it's different than anything I've ever read before. And I mean that in the very best way possible. So I think we're just going to kind of do, this is going to be more review than talk, but I hope you enjoy all the same. So, Coyote Songs. This book is sort of a tapestry, I guess you would call it, of different stories and different voices that all have a sort of similar thread that weaves through them. First of all, let me say the first chapter of this book had a surprise that I did not see coming and really sets the tone for the rest of the novel. So like I said, we're told different stories from different characters, and they go back and forth. The thing that I loved about this too was that even though there is, you know, quite a few characters, a handful or so, their voices and their characters are so distinct and so well written that there's no confusion. Because, you know, sometimes when it's going back and forth, especially if they're shorter chapters, sometimes I'll be like, wait, who was this guy? And I'll have to go back a few chapters just to sort of refresh my memory of what that storyline is. But I never, not once did I have to do that with this. Now, as the title would suggest, with the word coyote in it, this book and some of the stories revolve around, and one of the characters in the book is a coyote, which traditionally is someone who works to get people across the border, and that being the Mexican-American border. But a lot of the book takes place in Texas, and that's, being a Canadian, that's a part of the world that I'm not really familiar with. And I know back a handful of years ago, and I'm sure still to this day, but the border crossings became very much a big part of the news and a big part of, you know, just in day-to-day life, you'd hear so much about the things that were happening at the border. So this was, I felt like, a very topical, timely read. Now, I'm trying to think of what genre I would put this in. I have no idea. It's definitely a mashup of different genres. There's definitely some horror elements. There's definitely some literary fiction in here because Iglesias is an absolutely beautiful writer, and he writes in such a way that it's so vivid that when he describes certain things or doing certain things or touching a certain thing or whatever, it takes you to a place where you very intensely, if you have any memory of something like that, you feel it. And I got the first example of that in the first, I think on the second page. Yeah. So the first chapter's story is from the point of view of a young boy called Pedrito. And when we first meet him, he's going fishing with his father. And he describes a scene where his father's trying to get the hook onto the line. And he says, Don Pedro's calloused hands rummaged through the gear as if he'd trained the hooks to never bite. And I grew up on an island on the east coast of Canada, and I used to go fishing with my grandfather all of the time. And just the way he words that, Don Pedro's calloused hands rummaged through the gear as if he'd trained the hooks to never bite. I have memories of that, watching my grandfather, his hands, because he was a mechanic, so already, his hands were they were hardworking hands. And seeing him just roughly, like nothing hurt when getting the hooks and all that. That scene, or that sentence, I should say, really just resonated, brought me back to that. There's another scene later on in the book where Knuckles are hurt and they're being run underwater, and they turn, the water washes the blood away, and then the Knuckles turn white before turning pink and then red again. And I mean, we've all seen that, but I've never seen anyone word it like that. The white and then the pink and then the red again. And I just thought it was beautiful. It's beautiful. This book is just beautiful. So, like I said, we cycled through a bunch of different stories. At first I was kind of thinking that all the stories were going to come together in a big way, just kind of come and merge together into one big story in the end, but that's not really what happens. And I'm kind of glad it didn't. I liked the stories as they stood. It does come together in some ways, but not in the way that I thought it was going to. So I just thought this was a beautiful read. It's not an easy read, don't get me wrong. It's difficult, it's dark, it's violent, it's heavy, it's heartbreaking, but it's beautiful, and it's written so beautiful, and I can't wait to read his previous book and his next one. And if difficult, dark topics like that don't bother you, if that's not something that's too difficult for you to read, I would definitely recommend Coyote Songs. And it's short, it's not very long. It's, just a hair under 200 pages, and the pages are double spaced, or the lines are double spaced. So I thought, it was a quick read. And I would definitely recommend it. It's also got elements of, magical realism, maybe, and vigilante justice in general, crime, the dark ways that things end because everything ends. And yeah, I just thought it was beautiful and would definitely recommend. I just gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. For a while there I was like, is it 4 stars? Is it 5 stars? By the time I reached the end, it was very clearly 5 stars. So that's where I'm going to end this talk on Coyote Songs. Loved it. Look at that cover again. It's just beautiful. Next up, for the next book talk, we're going to be reading Beneath the Stairs by Jennifer Fawcett. It's a haunted house story from what I can tell, and you already know how I feel about those. So I can't wait to read and then share that one with you guys. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day or night, or whatever it is when you're watching this, and I will see you again real soon. Bye.